Oh, very good. Nice cup.
Oh, I need to check the audio levels. Yeah, let's do that. Let's pull that a little closer.
I'm going to look and see if yours is like that. Hit me with your best shot. Well, that's all right because, in the beginning was the... It's amazing how good auto is anymore.
Could you just flip my microphone? That's it. Thanks.
Oh, those sharks' teeth.
Let's reset. Now that you're on auto, let's give the camera a second to focus on my face. My face. Your face. My face. Our faces look great.
Yeah.
Good morning, Rick.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I want to start by could you read that for me? Could you read that for me?
And now, during the President's Day sales event, save $10,000 off new 2023 Charger and Challenger RT.
Not bad for a dry read. Read. So,
especially considering the misspelling there.
yeah, well, I didn't type that. That's from the agency.
Yes, I see.
So, you are, my friend. You are also the voice.
And you're my friend too. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. You were the voice of Matt Bowers when we had the contract,
That's
and
right.
Spent many an hour every month in the studio recording voiceovers like that.
It was a lot of fun.
That was indeed very, very fun. So, for those locals who have seen a couple of Matt Bowers TV commercials in 2024.
That's right.
That's right. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
You came prepared, I see. You bought your camera and
Yes, my sweetheart, as I say.
what is it?
It's a Sony A7R Mark II.
And why do you call it your sweetheart?
Because I spend so much time with it. It's my sweetheart.
Yeah,
and then with the Zeiss 24-240 lens, which the two of them together really does everything from macro.
Yes.
Because it shoots a 42 meg file, so you can really drill down, all the way to shooting pictures of the moon, which I do both ends of those things.
I don't know where to start with you. That's the problem with interesting people is there's so many things to talk about. So where do you want to start?
Well, actually, if I may.
You may.
I brought, I love quotes.
Yeah.
All the time when I ran one of the many businesses I was in, is that I had quotes posted everywhere. So let me start with this one. And this is how I kind of feel about photography. It's really has it's a calming effect. It's not click selfie stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But the kind of stuff that I do, it's a little more than that. And I thought that this described it pretty well.
Okay.
When he asked why he practiced Zen photography, when he asked why he practiced photography, his response was, "So I will see the tiny purple flowers by the side of the road as I walk to town each day. With an undefended heart, we can fall in love with life over and over every day. We become children of wonder, grateful to be walking on the earth, grateful to be belonging to each other and to all creation. We can find our true refuge in every moment, in every breath."
That's very beautiful.
And it's also really true. Really true. I find that when I shoot a lot of stuff, is that I do notice that I have a tendency to hold my breath because I'm there and in that moment.
How long have you been taking pictures for?
Well, like all the kids from my generation, way back with little brownie that you wound up. But when I got sort of serious about it was a couple of years before I retired, which has been 13 years ago now.
Yeah.
That I started getting a little more serious because I had been to Paris the first time, and I took some stuff, and it really looked like impressionist paintings, which I like.
Was that Paris trip the most recent one? Or
No, it was
the original one?
Yeah, a decade ago. And I printed some of the stuff, and everybody like, "You did this? Like,
How long have you been retired for?
13 years now.
So in your retirement, you picked up your new baby and fell in love with this.
Yeah.
And then so 13 years doing it in your retirement, so semi full time. Like, when did it stop becoming a hobby and start becoming more of a craft for you? Because you've hung art exhibits, like you're like legitimately a photographer, right?
Yeah, I do. I've had a lot of solo exhibits and this and one stuff. I was the advanced division photographer of the year for the Louisiana Photographic Society. You understand?
Yes.
Which meets the third
very
Thursday.
highbrow.
Which meets
very
every
highbrow.
third Thursday.
I'm sorry, my phone's being. Yes,
yeah, I heard it being. See, don't care.
I'm not going to make excuses for it. I'm just going to let it happen.
Which you've been a speaker at. So it's the third Thursday of every month at the main library of Goodwood. Louisiana Photographic Society. I highly recommend it.
So you were a highbrow photographer with art shows and such under your belt.
The answer
is fair?
That yes.
Is that how you think of yourself?
No, I think of myself as pretty doggone eclectic.
Okay, so with that, I want to put this on. So this is a hat that my dad gave. Well, actually, I took it from him.
Yes.
One of the very few things he let me have before he dies. I have lots in his will.
Yes.
But this hat, every time I look at it, it's been on the shelf for a while, reminds me of a character that you created called Rick Noir. So when I say how do you think of yourself as a photographer, who is Rick Noir?
Rick Noir came about here in the last couple of years, and I like film noir.
Yes,
all the movies like that because they're very simple. The general premise, as it is written, and it's true, is it's a man with no future and a woman with a past. Okay.
A man with no future and a woman with no past.
And no, a woman with a past.
A woman with a past.
Yes.
A man with no future, a woman with a past.
Yes. And so it's kind of built out from that. So that's the simplicity of it. And then the other part of it is that it's all done with lights and shadows.
Okay.
In depth shadows. And
black and whites?
Black and white is the main thrust of it.
Yeah.
There is some newer stuff, including Body Heat, for instance. But most of
I don't know what that is. But
you haven't seen Body Heat?
No, but let's carry on with Rick Noir.
Yes. Okay. So what happens is that it's the purity of the light and the shadows. Another thing that they say about black and white, which I certainly agree with, and that is that color, photography, film, whatever, color is like seeing the movie.
Yeah.
And black and white is reading the book because it's the purity of the form. And photography is writing with light, photographic, okay, it's writing with light, and film noir does that. And then the character of Rick Noir gives me the opportunity, besides the shots, to have to write these little stories, 2 or 3 paragraphs that are snippets of that kind of thing.
So we've been friends a long time.
Yes. Long time.
We just moved into this new beautiful space, and if I do this and just lean behind you, I'm seeing a whole wall of Rick Noir that you hung for us in our new place. So thank you very much for that. They are very interesting. You have a photograph, a black and white picture, and then next to it you have a paragraph as written by Rick Noir, a reflection, if you will, on the art, the photograph that's there. So the whole thing has a little mini story. It's almost like an alternate personality. Did you just dream him up, or has he developed over time? Like, where did he come from?
It just came up.
Yeah.
I do some writing on a number of things. I've had some stuff published in a book and did a book cover with photography. And
no small accomplishment.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I gotta quit that. So it just started.
Don't worry, mate. Let it out.
No problem. I'm glad to be sitting here with you. The tea's a little strong, but
that's okay.
This is not weak as water.
This is one of the things I've come to love about creative people is you act, you do photography, you have an alternate personality. I think technically that makes you schizophrenic, which is why. So, but you're very creative, and you do occasionally fall into accents because you're an actor. Are you not?
An actor.
What was the last show you did?
The last one I did was Shawshank Redemption.
The stage show.
Yes, and that was a stage play.
And you were also an actor as well. You have an IMDb page, don't you?
Yes, I was in The Purge in the 10-week series.
That was an awesome scene, by the way. Then.
Yes, it was in episode 8. I'm listed as co-star. And considering, like we started out, because this is how I sounded, this is how I can sound to you, is that in that thing where I got co-star billing, I don't speak the entire time. And
You have a distinct look.
apparently so.
Yes, I don't know. Well, sometimes like you could play King Lear, just like you could just put on a little costume and limited makeup. You could also play an excellent Bond villain. Have you ever thought of that?
Yes.
Could you say not this time, James Bond?
Not this time, James Bond.
No, like a villain.
Not this time, James Bond.
It's more like a radio host villain.
Yeah.
You worked in radio,
Well,
right?
you think so, but it's not this time, James Bond.
A bit more like not this time, James Bond.
Well, not this time, James Bond.
Boom! See,
I see.
you got to have that, like,
wanted that
yeah,
Cold War
the stereotypical, like,
see.
Baltic states evil villain kind of thing.
Yes.
Tell me about your time in radio, because you definitely I think the first time I met you, well, it's been 18 years ago now, but it was like, you have a voice for radio.
Yes, and
Have a face
I know
for radio.
that joke, yes, and a face for radio to match.
What do you do in radio? Was that your first career? Was that your first job?
Well, actually, what happened is my first job was I worked on the railroad.
Really?
Yes, for 20 years and 2 months.
Swinging a mallet and hammering the pins?
No. I was.
I don't know what working on the railroad means.
I was actually the last position that I had. I was the conductor on the City of New Orleans.
Holy cow!
On the Illinois Central Railroad.
Wow.
Yeah, so that song about riding on the city of New Orleans. Okay. Well,
I don't know that song.
Oh, you don't?
Do you know? Can you sing me a verse?
Well, no, not now. Yes.
It's okay to say no.
Yes.
And that's ridiculous. And shut up, Stuart. Everything goes.
Well, in it, there's a line that says, riding his father's magic carpet made of steel.
Okay.
Well, at one trip, my dad was the engineer, and I was the conductor. So going down the tracks, I was actually riding the magic carpet, my dad's magic carpet made of steel.
So your dad was in it, and you got in it. That was your first job.
Yes, as was my grandfather's and my great-grandfather's, and so it was a long line of that. And so how I got into radio was a friend of mine. I was also near that time. This was in Central Illinois. We hauled soybeans and corn all the time. 120 cars full of that stuff.
Sure.
And I got thinking, well, what's going to happen with all this stuff? And so I started investigating it, and I found about commodity trading. And so I became a commodity trader. And then...
You just taught yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah?
pretty much.
Awesome.
And then became so I could manage accounts, which I did, and then that went pretty well. And then a guy I met was told me he was going to buy a radio station,
Okay.
and would I like to be part of that? And I thought, that sounds pretty good. My daughter had been born.
Yep.
And so
You have one kid?
I have one beautiful daughter, yes.
Okay.
And one thing about the railroad is a third of the time you're on the trains, a third of the time you're at the other end of the railroad, and a third of the time you're home.
Okay.
Well, I didn't want to be gone that much from my new daughter.
Oh.
So I decided to quit the railroad.
How long were you married before you had your daughter? Were you still enjoying washing each other's underwear and stuff, or had you been remarried a while?
Yeah, as you know, we enjoy our company, yes.
I know you do. I love your
yes.
wife.
Yeah, we've been together 50 years now. So
50 years.
Married 47, 3 years.
Congratulations, man.
Yes. So he told me he's going to buy this radio station. So I quit my railroad job. 20 years, all this seniority and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Quit to go into something new. And then at the closing, he didn't show up.
Oh,
just
the
disappeared.
life happened, man. Life
It's
jump.
like, So I had started being a salesman at the place for just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Before he was going to take over.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen, and so all of a sudden I had to, and then I found out that the place was in bankruptcy, which that nobody had mentioned that to me.
And you just had a baby.
So I decided that I'd better
Trying to do all the right things, trying to stay at home with
Yeah.
the baby, and life's you.
Yeah. Well, it worked out good. So I taught myself sales.
Okay.
Thank goodness for Brian Tracy. But
Who's Ryan
But
Tracy?
I learned sales. And
Who's Ryan Tracy?
Brian Tracy.
Ryan Tracy. Who's that?
Psychology of selling. He's an incredible sales trainer. And the thing about professional sales, which the rest of my life was about, was that sales is not a trick. Sales is asking questions, finding out what people want, and then give it to them.
If you can.
It makes it so much easier.
So there's nothing quite as motivating as your first child. So you got a first child, and you were in a pickle, and you were motivated to get into something. So that's what you did for the rest of your
I learned that, and then it's always find out what you like, and then learn everything you can about it. Okay,
That's a good piece of advice. I'm going to write that down.
Yes,
give it to me again.
Is find out what you like, and then learn everything about it.
Okay.
So I ended up working my way up until I was essentially overseeing 8 radio stations.
Ooh.
And so I did that for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
Had a falling out with the owner.
Did you hit him, or did he hit you?
Well, I did drive from Central Illinois to St. Louis to confront him at 5 o'clock in the morning because I got tired of covering the paychecks when I knew we were the number 1 radio station.
Were there 50 cuffs?
Yes. Well, no.
You don't seem the
But
sort
it
to
did-
assault a person, but
No,
you never know.
I did get in a fight
push him?
with 5 guys one time.
Ooh, really?
That's another story.
Okay, I might have to get back to that. Fight with 5 guys.
Yeah, so I got into radio. So I got out of radio, and then I saw an ad for do you like sales? God, I love sales.
That's right.
And so it was for a company that sold long-term care insurance.
Okay.
So I went to work for them, and found out that was great because you got paid great for doing great.
Sure.
And then from that, I got an offer from a larger insurance company that's been around since 1879.
Yes.
And so I went to work for them as a sales guy, and then I ended up being a national ethics trainer and overseeing multiple states and multiple offices and going in and building offices up and
Cool.
and all that sort of stuff. Because I found what I've really found is I really like building things rather than maintaining things.
Yes.
My wife has a saying. She says, I have a 2-year attention span.
That's longer than most people's.
So I did that, and then I retired, and I was scared to death because I didn't know what I was going to do.
Well, that's quite a life, man. I mean, you're so full of life. It's hard to think that you're old. But how old are you exactly?
It's right there, Sonny. Let's see here. I'm 77 years old.
77 years
77,
old. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Sunset Strip. So you
Dude,
have to be old to know that, Joe.
If I'm half as full of life as you are at 70,
I
I'd be
have
thrilled.
no doubt that you will be.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I enjoy waking up every day. That seems to be a trend with me, and I have a pretty long-term attention span. I think I could be okay.
Yeah.
So what's retirement like? I mean, for those that are staring it down, or like, what is it like to wake up and be retired? So busy, and then
in my insurance career, not house and car insurance, not that stuff, is that
do you look down on that stuff?
no, but it's more like that's just
Necessity
I would say
insurance.
necessity.
Okay.
And I'm glad they have it. I mean, I own it. And as you know, they
don't want to talk about
they just put a new roof on my house.
Yes.
Thanks to you, and doing a commercial. But my clients used to say to me, said, and we would laugh because, it's your client. He tells you something that's funny. You laugh because it probably is.
Yeah.
And it was, now that I'm retired, I don't know how I ever found time to work. Well, I discovered that to be true.
She just got busy with the photography and all that kind of stuff. And
I continued to scuba dive.
you scuba dive too?
Love scuba diving. Been all around the planet scuba diving. Been deep inside cave dives in the Yucatan Peninsula.
What's the scariest dive you ever went on? Do you ever almost kill yourself diving?
Oh yeah, that's the purpose of doing it.
What?
It's just surviving stuff. I suppose the scariest was being in a cave. Like no air above you.
Right.
You were in because your eye can pick up a single photon. Okay, but you're in a cave where there is no single photons available.
Wow.
And so I was at this one point where
You didn't have a torch or like a headlight?
oh
on your
yeah,
head?
of course. No, not up here because potential blinding, but that's a whole nother thing too. So I came to this one.
I want to pull that
with
thread.
with a guide, and we had been with him before in this cave system, big cave system.
And where is this? What country?
This was in Mexico.
Just in case I want to go do it.
In the Yucatan Peninsula.
Not.
And so we came up. He said, "You guys are comfortable diving." It was me and my good buddy who we traveled the planet diving. That came up to this one cave or this one section. He said, "You guys cool leaving the safety lines?" We're like, "Yep." And so we left the safety lines. He was going to take us to show us something. So we came up to this little opening, and I mean,
Hang on a second. All right, now, just
Yes.
so you're in a cave.
Yes.
Not a single photon, and the person you're with, there's no air above you. It's not like you can go. Okay, it's just submerged in a cave.
Yes.
And your friend said, "Are you okay removing the safety lines?" And you were like, "Great idea."
No. The owner or the guide said, "Would you are you okay with leaving the safety lines?" Because he knew we were good on air. We could make a tank of air last.
You do know that guy that went to that crappy submarine down to the Titanic, he probably also on the boat said to the guys, "Are you ready to go?"
There were many known faults with that, and he was aware of it, which is the reason that Josh guy on Expedition, whatever it is, that he refused to go because of all the safety concerns.
I mean, the whole thing was operated with like a remote control for a PlayStation, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was also had many safety things. Now this guy,
so you're in a cave.
And with this guy, we had total confidence in because when we first met him, he came out wearing a chromed World War II German helmet and had spider monkeys hanging around his neck. So I knew right away that we could trust him.
Of course.
Honest story. So we came.
So he's the guy you're in a cave with, and he's the guy who's like.
The guy said, "You want to leave the safety line? You're good with air." And
you were like, "Yes, I do."
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what happened?
And so
you didn't die, obviously.
Little space.
Yeah.
And to get through it, we had to clench your regulator, unbuckle all your stuff, pull it over your head, and then shove it through that little hole, and then wiggle your way through it, and then get on the other side, and then put your gear back on.
Did your wife do that with you?
That was the scariest.
Did your wife do that with you?
Not a prayer. She likes.
I mean, I was wondering. I wanted to learn how to fly a plane, but my wife, I went on one lesson, and I came back, and she's like, "You cannot do that until the kids are 10."
Yeah.
And by the way, they're 7 now. So covered up.
Down.
Yeah, she says she'll never fly with me if I learn how to fly, but I don't know. So you have your own hobbies. Do you think that's the secret to a long marriage? Is having your own interests and
the secret to long marriage? Actually, I know this.
Okay. Let's go into marriage. Yeah, go ahead.
Write this down.
Because you've been married 50 years.
Well, 47 and 3 years.
Well, that's 50 at this point.
Okay.
Isn't it a diamond?
Number one rule, is never keep score.
Never keep score. I've been married for almost 9 years now, so I'm going to write this down so I can tattoo on my arms reference.
Yeah.
Never keep score.
And number 2 is when your wife tells you something about yourself, it's probably true.
Wife tells you it's true.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a story about that. So as you know my beautiful wife.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
and my beautiful kids. They are beautiful. They are beautiful, aren't they? Do you want to say things about how beautiful they are?
Oh, they're beautiful, and I have all these great things of them leaping off into the pool and pictures of them in midair, which is some of my favorite series. Yeah.
So it was a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know how the day started. Clearly it was wrong and it wasn't important enough. I can't remember all the details, but I'm pretty sure coffee was delivered too slow and I couldn't find underwear. It's just life stuff, right? But anyway, by the time I got to work, my wife was expressing her feelings towards me and they were negative feelings. And Rule 2, I probably deserve them. But you said when your wife tells you it's probably true, something about yourself. So at about 10 o'clock, she texted me a screenshot of the dictionary definition of narcissist. so I could identify the attributes. Now I wasn't angry. I wasn't angry. I'd upset, obviously, though, right?
Right. That's the right thing to start with.
Okay, so I was not angry at this. I wasn't even that angry in the morning. So anyway, I'm not going to justify myself because she was probably right. Anyway, so she just texted me like the dictionary definition of a narcissist, and then I went through line by line. I'm like, I've never said that. Like, it's in the ballpark, but I never did that. I've never said that to her, right?
Oh, so it was in the ballpark.
Well, see, I mean, like,
Well, then, no, I just make sure I clearly understand.
I mean, it's like, we're all on the spectrum. Anyway, so my point is this, is that by the time we got home, after a day of work and lots of texts and several phone calls, conversations, we got home, we're having a glass of wine, and she says to me, honey, you're not a narcissist. She didn't say, I'm sorry, you're not a narcissist, but she did say, you're not a narcissist. And that was 12 hours later. So my question for you as a more experienced married guy is did I discover that I was a narcissist and cure myself in under 12 hours? Or was she a little off?
Well, she was not a little off. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And you probably you probably put some patches in case it was true.
So one of the things I have...
See, but here, now, see, you're falling into the range of keeping score.
Oh, I just remember an event that happened. I didn't keep score.
Well,
she could literally beat me, and I was.
Or she was. No keeping score. No keeping score.
So one of the things that I've really enjoyed about being married, is, and we actually had this conversation last night, which is why it's top of mind. Is the same for you? Is that actually, I don't know what we were talking about, but I said to her last night. I said, I'm a better person. I think Gianni was around, and we were talking about because Gianni's 15.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm a better person. No, Clyde was there. So, all right. So my niece has this long-term boyfriend. My wife was basically telling him he should marry her, get on with it, sort of thing. And so I come out and they're talking about marriage, and she's talking to him about all the, things that she appreciates about being married and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh. And so I came out and I said, look, seriously, I'm a better person because I'm married to her. Mm-hmm. And here's why. It's because I want to be the person that she wants to be married to. And that requires working on yourself. And patience is a big one. I've learned so much patience being married. Yeah. So am I on the right track?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it? Never keep score.
That's the big one.
When your wife tells you is probably true. Yeah. And I'm going to keep that one.
And then number 3.
Yes, number 3.
This is the end of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we'll come back to number 3.
Okay. Number 3. We're going to come back to number 3. Come back to it. Okay. So let's go back to your. Come back to that. Let's go back to your photography and your art. So.
Paris.
Yes, Paris.
Paris.
Well, actually, I want to get because your work is excellent. If you haven't had enough people tell you, you're a very talented, creative artist. I'm gonna see if I can bring up on that screen over there. Let's have a look what I can do. I'm gonna bring up MP. No, that's not it. That's it. So look at that TV over there, right there. Okay, I'm gonna bring up. Let's cut to that. So that's Movee Media's transition. I'm going to leave all of this in, by the way. All of this fiddling around with the tech.
Yes, I've noticed.
Okay, good. So we're going to go media. So we're going to play a little game, and it's called Is This Art? Okay? Is this art? So we're going to start with this here. Okay. Oh. Is that art?
One of my favorites.
Okay, can you talk about this picture? What are we looking at here?
We're looking at a cellist that you and I both know.
Yes.
And it was not a recital, maybe a recital. I don't know what you call it. But the idea with this was I was experimenting with intentional camera movement.
Okay.
And so the idea was to have like his face here, and then have the outside of it swing into it by using the zoom on Sweetheart over here.
Okay.
And to do that, I had to prop myself up against a wall and do it.
It's beautiful. So that's art. Yes, that is art.
Yes.
Okay, let's have a look here. Is this art?
Yes.
Okay, what is this?
This is it's a plot against the Queen.
What?
Is the name of it. And so you have the king and you have the bishop, and of course, gosh, what a separation of state wasn't occurring in this one.
Okay.
Where they are plotting the down and the knight or the paladin.
And is that those are actual statues you own?
They're chess pieces.
They're chess pieces.
Yes, they're like this big, and my mom made them.
So there are levels to artistry. Like I see the world differently because of my craft. My craft is film and commercial production stuff.
Uh-huh.
But your photography, you must see the world in very special ways. Like you looked at that chessboard and was like, aha!
It was set up on my back porch.
Yeah.
And it's that thing about notice the tiny little flowers.
Yep.
That I started with, is that it's just looking.
It's very cool.
Well,
So yes, two. Yes, that is art.
yes, absolutely.
What do you got in your pocket there?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. So, what?
Yeah, well, two more quotes. These hang on my wall. That's the reason they have tape on them. And it says the whole of life lies in the verb seeing.
Yeah, that's great. I like that one. Can I have it?
No.
Please?
No,
I'll
you
stick
said
it in
I
my
could say
office. Okay, fine.
And the other is the question, and this is kind of fits this. The question is not what you look at, but what you see.
That is also very true. So, first one, definitely art. Second one, definitely art.
Yeah.
Is this art?
I'm having a little trouble seeing that.
What about on the left screen there? It's a bit bigger.
Yeah, it's
Is that art?
well, it could be.
Really?
Yeah,
That's my 8-year-old's craft project that he took to school this morning.
yeah, yeah. Well, like I say,
Yeah?
it could.
It's not
be.
art, is it?
It would look in black and white. It would look much better.
I think there's like Lego pieces in there and it's sideways that
Yeah.
my daughter was messing with it last night. It's a bit broken.
Perfect.
But that's my 8-year-old's son.
Yeah,
So
well,
that
black
definitely
and,
not
black
art.
and white. It goes right.
Or is it art?
Right to. Well, it has found.
You
it's
can say no.
foundational. It's foundational.
I said
did
you can say no. Okay,
You
fine.
couldn't have my quotes.
Well, we'll just go maybe on that one.
All right.
So maybe on that one.
Right.
Okay, let's have a look here. We'll do this right here. Is that art?
Yeah, I think that is definitely art.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, what is that?
That is because it's sweeping,
Yep.
and has a flow to it.
Yeah, it's a picture you took.
I did not recognize, but yes, it is.
Yes,
I
that is a
recognize
picture.
it now.
Yeah, it's from your last Paris trip.
Yes,
Okay.
which my wife
Yeah.
actually insisted that I go on.
Okay. Is this art?
Absolutely yes, because that's that form stuff. It's
Is
the
it?
form? Yes. Well, look at that. Isn't that written with light?
Okay, yes. So tell me about this Paris trip. What was the Paris trip about? And because that's a spectacular photograph, but now people know it's your photograph. You have to explain why you took it. Is it your wife?
No. She insisted that I go to Paris and insisted that I go by myself.
Okay.
Because I used to go scuba diving by myself.
Yes.
And quite frankly, I do need those sections of time completely by myself.
Okay.
Which was nice about the railroad because I spent so much time by myself. So I went in entirely by myself. So myself and 8 other photographers, we rented a 12-bedroom villa in Paris.
Okay, yourself and 12 other photographers.
and-
No, you didn't bring. Did any of them bring their wives?
No,
Okay.
no, and 2 of the women didn't bring their husbands.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and so we shot things like that
Yeah.
for multiple days.
I'm switching it back because I don't want to be distracted by that beautiful lady.
And then
I mean,
also,
I do, but we're talking, so I don't.
well, I have more right over here.
Oh, we'll look at these in a minute.
So and then
So a bunch of
we-
guys,
then-
2 ladies,
Yep.
go to Paris.
Yep.
What was the gist?
shooting in the villa.
Yeah.
And villa it was, where we had our own chef. Actually 2 chefs to feed us all. And
So you went to a villa in Paris with. Did you know these people, or were they just photographers from around the world?
I did not know the people.
Okay, and for those uncultured, uncouth people like me, this is like a photographer's like dream thing, right?
It was for me, yes.
Okay, so then you had a bunch of models that
6 international models.
so
No
6
joke, no joke models. Yes.
international beautiful ladies show up, and were they there the whole time?
Yes.
And could you just like photograph them whenever you wanted, or was it like staged? I don't know.
We started 8 breakfasts.
Yep.
And then and then a half-hour break.
Yep.
And then from 8:30 to 4:30,
Yeah.
we just shot. We would break into 2 photographers each
Right.
with 1 or 2 models, depending. And then we just work all day long doing all these different shots in different locations.
It's amazing.
It was nice for me. I'd never been anything like this.
Yes.
Most of the other people had been. The photographers and the models, they work constantly. I mean, it's amazing how much they work. So they were very helpful. Without saying, "Would you like me to do this?" They just flowed into poses and things. It was very educational, At first, I was nervous because there was it's nude photography. It's fine art nude, so it's not like dirty pictures. And I was nervous about it, quite frankly.
They were the pictures you sent me were very artful.
Yes, and then what I found after I got there, that once you start doing this, you fall into photo nerd, and it's like, how's the light here? Am I getting backlight? Am I getting side light? What's going on here? How's this? How's the temperature of the thing? And so all of that, and so it kind of like disappeared. It really and truly did. Now,
Sorry, I'm looking at that. I just blacked out again.
Well, I will say
She's
that when I got home and started doing the editing,
my wife is prettier.
With the 3,112 images I came back with.
How many?
3,112.
I'd have been 10,000.
That I did find that, oh yeah, look at her. But when it was all going on, it really was the craft of it.
So I can appreciate knowing you. I don't want to disrespect you or anything, but I'm also a child, like in my head in many ways, and I think that I don't know if I could have done that because I probably would have giggled for at least an hour or two until you get in. I get it, there's a groove, but for those that are even more childish than I am, objectively, you after 50 years of marriage, there is no way I could go to Paris for any reason and not have my wife come with me. And certainly not to go hang out with 8 international models and take nude pictures of them. So back to your...
She insisted.
Back to your...
She brought another woman over to berate me to book the thing. So I had 2 wives. You know how that goes.
All right. So listen up. So the question is how?
Yes.
You are some kind of mythical Greek creature, like you are the husband. You got to a point where your wife is insisting that you travel to Paris for 2 weeks to hang out with 8 nude models. How did you do that?
Never keep score. Yes.
All right. So let me get these tattooed on my arm right now.
Yeah, yes.
When your wife tells you it's right, it's right. What is number 3? We had to come back to it, you said.
We'll
and I feel this is, I really want to get to it right now because, come on now.
No, we'll come back to that.
So your wife is a beautiful, lovely, lovely person. And, wow, I wouldn't go there. But, she really insisted you went? Like, she must, love you a lot. I mean,
Oh, yeah, we're in love.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, oh, no, it's
awesome.
It's still just as great,
I feel that way about my wife now.
Yeah.
But 50 years. I mean, high five, dude. Just yeah.
Yeah.
What's this you got?
I think that's a picture of her, and I don't think we'll be able to see it, but she's
Is this a photograph of your wife?
Yes, we were walking, and we came across some azalea flowers, some red ones, laying on the cement.
Yeah.
And we were with the other twins that
Yeah.
And one of the little girls said, "That looks like a dress." And so we took it home, and then I shot it on some silver stuff, and then I had Marcia dress up with a red top that kind of matched it, and then did all this ballet hands. Women know when you get into pose, say, "Give me some ballet hands."
They all know how to do ballet.
Yes. And so, and then turned it into my, and that's called My Lady Dances with Flowers.
So you obviously are also a Photoshop ninja, because that's not real. I can tell.
It was, the good news and the bad news was a number of years ago, when I did retire, Marcia, who is younger than me, because younger women is another good idea.
But don't say it. My wife's my wife's not older than me. She's not. She's always younger than me.
Yes, always.
So did that one right too.
Yeah,
Check
and so
that
she
one
was
off.
still working.
Yeah.
And again, I was panicked about not working because I'd just been intense in my jobs.
Yeah.
And so I had a couple of years, and there was an organization called Creative Live. Big deal thing.
Yeah.
World-class instructors. And so I joined that, and then I would take Photoshop classes. You know.
In your retirement.
And I did that. Some of the classes were 3 days long, and I would take them, and I'd take them again, and I did that. And I did that for a number of years.
Wow.
And then the other good thing that happened that was unfortunate, but a good thing, and that was during COVID, where you really couldn't go out and just, do a whole lot of stuff. And so at that time, that's when I learned macro, because I have I garden a bunch, as you know.
Yeah.
I have a large yard for that, and lots of flowers. And so that's when I learned macro. All done with Sweetheart, with my Zeiss 24-240, in case I didn't mention that before.
You're very proud of that. All right, listen, so we actually, I feel like I have to justify why you're here. I'm not going to justify why you're here because I'm pretty sure you're going to come back on and let's pick a subject, because this is kind of a meandering sort of just get to know you type thing. And I've learned things about you that I didn't know. So that's fantastic. I certainly I respect your successful 50-year marriage. I'm sure it was not all roses, but these 3 pieces of sage were... No. You haven't given me the third yet. So
I'll save it.
Come on, man. Your wife insisted that you go to Paris to be with nude models. I need the third. Never keep
she
score.
Insisted that I went off and had a chance to be by myself. Because, time with yourself is important.
My wife is good like that too.
Yeah,
So,
because see, that's another thing that we were talking about in the beginning about photography, is right now you're bombarded with stuff.
Yeah.
There's a great book called Positioning the Battle for Your Mind. I highly recommend it as a marketing guy.
Positioning
the Battle for Your Mind.
Yes.
Okay. And that right when it was written a number of years ago is that the average number of impressions that we get of, like signs and commercials and billboards and on and on and on is about 11,000 a day. Okay. And I was thinking about this driving over, and I was stopped at the stoplight, and I looked around, and it's like, oh yeah, there's like 100 right here when I'm at the stoplight. So so you get all of that stuff, but in the end, that's what photography is. Okay, it's a chance to slow down and see the little flowers. Okay. So if I may,
if you give me advice number 3 on marriage, you may.
Ask your wife.
She knows the main one.
That's
touché. That's how you use that phrase.
Yes. So, So
Ask your wife.
solitary sentinel, which we can say for another time.
Sure.
Here we go. In the practice of meditation, again, photography. In the practice of photography, if there's a temptation to stop paying attention, you have to bring yourself back. Look through the lens. Bring yourself back. It's like herding a bunch of cows who would like to cross that fence into your neighbor's field. You have to push them back. You do it with a certain sense of enjoyment. Bring yourself back, centered at home.
I think next time I chat to you, I'm just going to get a little cushion and sit on the floor, and you can just be like Grandpa and just give me all your wisdom. All right, dude. I love you. You're amazing.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was.